Hey, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing amazing. So, we're back with working on editing through the rest of my book, Echoes of the Cosmic Veil. Real quick, I'm going to get chat up, make sure we actually have a stream. I hope y'all are having a great morning yourselves. Mine is going pretty good. I woke up a little bit early, had some coffee, so I am awake. Hold on one second. Sorry, I have to get this up on a phone. And so we will be able to see chat, and in theory, I'll be able to catch whatever you guys say. Remember, I am using the phone for my secondary monitor, so, not going to be perfect on that. So we've got all the way to chapter 22. I will let you guys know I did not get any back work done over the weekend. My weekend was spent on other things. I had great plans that didn't really come to fruition. So let's just hope that I can knock this out, get it all done within the next 3 weeks. I think we're going to be done and have this book published onto barnesandnoble.com within the next 3 weeks pretty easily. And so let's hope that's true. So, chapter 22. I sat in my room for the first time in a while looking at the bliss. I had no desire for it, outside of a habit of something to kill time. I sat there taking dose after dose. Each dose I took offered nothing to me. At one point, I realized it had done enough to kill most people. Bliss was not what I was wanting. For some reason, the idea of ripping into flesh ran through my mind again and again. I had fought urges before, though many times, and this would be no different. I dimmed the lights and laid there looking through files on the internal AI with hopes of finding something that would explain exactly what was happening to me. The one thing I could tell was the nanites were creating more and more connections to the AI, and the blood Amelia had gave me was now fighting for control. I knew about the disease the elves had created and how it had turned the masses into mindless killers. But this was different. I still had my mind and did not seem to be a walking corpse. But I was craving to rip into something living. I knew Amelia had modified the disease in some way. I also knew she was able to control herself. And, see, this is why we read through it, and her mental faculties. Okay, well, we can't do this. This. Okay, so watch this. Okay. Let's see if this makes better sense. Good morning, by the way. I hope you're doing amazing. Kicking pretty good butt myself. Okay. I knew Amelia had modified the disease in some way. I knew she was able to control herself and her mental faculties without turning into a decomposing zombie. She had changed the disease into something new, and whatever that was, it now is. That was whatever that was is now okay. Let's change this. Now flowed, and we're going to go with flowed through me. I think that sounds better, right? She had changed the disease into something new, and whatever that was now flowed through me. Okay, I like it. I could not handle just sitting there in my quarters, so I decided to go to the galley, hoping some food would help. Maybe if I was full, my urges and thoughts would calm down. After sitting in the dim light of my quarters, the lights in the corridors shone bright and almost overwhelming. I added that in there. We'll see if it makes sense. After sitting in the dim lights of my quarters, the lights in the corridors seemed bright and almost overwhelming. New scents whirled around me. The galley was quiet, and only two of the crew members were there eating. The smell of the food, the smell of the food. Let's change this. And I know I'm no, that's not correct. Aromas. Hold on, I'm gonna have to use the phone to check this. That I don't believe we have that spelled correctly, and I don't want to have to deal with it later. Aroma of the food. Oh shit, we got it right. Maybe. Hold on, let me find out where we are. Okay, yep. Never mind. For some reason that didn't look right, but it's 5 a.m., so not shocking, right? The aromas of the food. Sorry. Whew. I drink some coffee here real quick. And let's change this. The aromas of the food, the foods, aroma. The food's aroma was intense but did not stir my appetite. I still went through the motions of getting a plate and then sat down at a table on the other side of the room from the crew members. I worked to force down the food, but it seemed bland and unfulfilling. Then the crew members got up and went to leave, passing by me. That is when I caught their scent, which was almost overwhelming. I sat for a second trying to eat, but the scent was still lingering in the air. I was done eating, but could still detect the scent even minutes after they had left. At first, I was just curious at how easy it would be for me to follow them. But then I slipped into the mindset of a predator, hunting its prey. I followed them down each corridor with ease, using only the lingering scent left in the air. I told myself I just wanted to see if I could track them, but soon my thoughts of why slipped away into something more primal. When I finally caught up with them, they were visiting in front of one of their quarters. The conversation was of concern with how they could get out of the trouble we all found ourselves in, and if the elves or the corporation would be the one that tracked us all down first. Then I watched as they split up and went to their quarters. I found myself moving to one of their doors and almost like instinct connected to the ship system, using only my technopathic abilities. I began by lowering all the lights in the corridor and the room on the other side of the door. Then I sat there listening. I could hear the man coming towards the door, likely to see if the lighting was having issues outside of his quarters. The darkness in the corridor seemed not to affect my abilities to see at all. When his door opened, I was ready, and without thought I pounced, overpowering him and pushing him back into the darkness of his quarters. The man was big and looked to be in good shape, but seemed easy to control. I found myself letting him try to put up a fight, as if I was playing some game. When I realized he had lost all hope, and when it went to scream out, I ripped into his throat, silencing him. I had lost myself in the moment, and in a frenzy, I found myself tearing him to pieces, feasting upon and I found myself tearing him into pieces and feasting upon his organs. And boom. I was consumed by bloodlust, though, and found myself quickly at the other man's door. I overrode and opened the door, this time forgetting to dim the lights within the quarters. The look of horror on his face caught me off guard for a brief second, giving him enough time to get to his laser pistol. laying on the dresser next to his bed. I moved quickly, lunging towards him, but he managed to get off 3 shots, 2 of them hitting me directly. I still managed to make it to him, but not before he was able to scream out for help. He fought, and before help arrived, I managed to bite into his forearm. That he was using to defend himself. As 2 more crew members arrived, they opened fire, striking me in the back, this time running me unable to move, as one of the hits had struck my spine. I laid there as the men seemed to talk about what could have happened. Soon they realized the trail of blood leading to the other crew members' room. I could hear the sound of horror as they found the brutal mess I had made of the man. I could feel the nanites working to repair me, aided by the disease that now coursed through my body. I knew soon I'd be back up, but now more people had arrived, including my friends who were trying hard to grasp the situation. As they stood there arguing, the man I had bitten fell to the ground, going into violent convulsions. Some of the crew members were trying to check on him, but I could feel the disease was now connecting us. Finally, my friends checked my body. They managed to determine that I was still conscious, though unable to move, from the damage to my spine. Orrin said we need to get them to the medical bay and figure out what happened. Then Brandon and Blake grabbed my legs and arms, carrying me out of the room, as the crew members were still trying to figure out what was wrong with the man. As they got me to the medical bay, they placed me on the table, strapping me down, which was probably the right choice on their part, as I had regained movement of my hands. Then there was a scream from the hallway. It was the man I had attacked. I knew he had regained consciousness, and now he was attacking the men who were carrying him to the medical bay. They managed to subdue him, but not before he had bitten one of the men carrying him. They brought the men into the medical bay and strapped them down, right before the other man went into convulsions. I listened as the crew members and my friends talked. It seemed they knew it was the Zarkran virus, but were unwilling to come to terms with the reality of it, searching desperately for any other explanation. I laid there strapped to the table. I could feel the mindlessness of the other 2 men. They were fighting to get free like animals, rabid to attack. I could feel my bond with them growing as the disease took hold, but was unable to get them to calm down for more than a few seconds. Let's go at a time. I listened to the crew and my friends discuss ideas of what could have happened for several minutes as I healed. Finally, I regained some of my composure. I yelled out, "It's Zarkran's virus," as I struggled to deal with the situation I found myself in. Salvador and Orion seemed shocked that I had spoke. If it's Zarkran virus, how are you able to speak? I feel that they would have known it was Amelia, but where would have you gotten it from? It was Amelia. She infected me. I was injured in the fight. Okay, comma, after I was injured in the fight. She injected me with her blood. I don't know if I want to leave this all long and complicated or if we want to simplify it. Which had a modified version of the virus. It was Amelia. She infected me. After I was injured in the fight, she injected me with her blood, which had a modified version of the virus. I watched as they exchanged glances, each one trying to decide what to think about what had transpired. Salvador and Orion stood there, talking with each other, trying to decide what to do. We need to put a couple of people to guard. Oh. We just need a couple of people. We need a couple of people to guard the room, at least until we figure out what to do, Salvador said. Oren looked at me. Sorry, Sam. We need to leave you strapped down. You're just too dangerous until we get this figured out. Me and Brandon will stay and guard you, so no one will harm you. Everyone else left, seemingly to figure out what they would do with us. So we've got him fully infected. Obviously, it goes wild from here. There are a few things that I might touch up and change as we move forward. Hopefully, I get more time to actually get back and fix the small, minor, little holy shit, we messed that up things, which there's a few of them. But in all honesty, we are kicking butt. I am very thankful that you guys are freaking so awesome. And I very much thank you guys for just being awesome and hanging out all the time. Um, Clearly, we're almost done finishing up with this book. So after that, it's basically formatting. We design a book cover and we upload that crap. Let's hope that it does well. My original plan was a much shorter version of it and stuff like that. I'm not sure what base cost we'll have to put this book at, but I'm not going to make it overly costly just because, in all honesty, I figured this first book we wrote was kind of practice for writing books. After this, I do want to write another book. It's going to be at a relaxed pace. We are going to probably write it live. In fact, I'm totally sure we are. I'll also get back to some more aggressive, just having fun on this channel. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll be back in a little bit, of course, with Google Transit stuff. Outside of that, just stay epic, do big things. Peace and very best wishes.